Hello.
Ashley, hello. Can you hear me and see me?
I can hear you. I can see you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can see you, we can hear you. Just a minute. You will have the right to share the screen. Oh, sorry.
Okay, let's try this.
Yeah. Could you please try? Oh, great.
Okay.
We can
Can
see
you
the
see my screen?
presentation. Yeah.
Perfect. So,
Welcome.
thank you. So, my name is Murphy Scott. I am the commercial manager at Expanish. We are a Spanish language school, and I'm going to be speaking mostly about long-term programs in Spain. I don't have a translator with me, so I will speak, of course, in English. We do have Russian, German, Italian, Spanish, French speaking staff, so we can always answer questions in students' native language, but right now, just in English. I'll be giving a relatively short presentation focusing on Spain, but I will cover a bit about the school in general. So, Expanish. We are actually two Spanish schools. We have one in Barcelona, Spain, and one in Buenos-Ayres, Argentina. So one in Europe, one in South America. And we offer 4 different programs. One are adult Spanish programs. So anyone from 16 years and older can come to the school from anywhere around the world to do a program of 1 week to 1 year with us to study Spanish in an intensive environment. The other is an unpaid internship program, so doing an internship at a local company or organization related to your academic studies or a recent graduate from university. We also have a university pathway program, so students can come to Spain, study Spanish, prepare for university entrance exam, and then apply to either public or private university. And then finally, we do a summer camp in Barcelona for teenagers from 13 years to 17 years. So we have a couple different options. As I mentioned, I'm mainly going to be focusing on the number 1 here, the adult Spanish language program, for those who just come to study Spanish, although they could then use that program to then go to university as number 3. So I'm firstly just going to talk about Spanish language courses. So a bit about a school. We actually opened in Argentina in 2006. And in Spain, our school opened 3 years ago in 2017. We are a small Spanish language school. So we're members of IALC, which is a network of language schools around the world that are small, owner-run, that have a high level of quality. And we're also accredited by the Instituto de Cervantes, which is the official body that supervises Spanish language teaching around the world. And that's what allows us to, help students get visas and, again, make sure that we are a quality teaching center. Show you some pictures first. This is our school in Barcelona. This is the reception. It's quite modern, colorful. You can see the common area, it's quite highly designed. It looks a bit more like a cafe or cool hotel, as we want students when they enter the school to feel welcome and comfortable, both in and outside the classroom. You can see a classroom here, again, quite colorful. The location of the school. So if you've been to Barcelona before, we are in the neighborhood of Eixample, which is just outside the main downtown area, about 15 minutes from the beach and 20 minutes walking from Sagrada Familia, which is one of the main attractions of the city, and just 1 block from the nearest metro. So it's a great location near lots of shopping, near lots of places where students prefer to live. And it's easy to get to the school from other parts of the city. Barcelona is it's a very cosmopolitan city, but it's also quite small in terms of space. So to get from one side of the city to the other side, it takes about 30 minutes or so. So it's not, even if you lived on the extreme parts of the city, it's still quite fast to get to the school because we're right in the middle of it. a bit about the types of students that come to our school. So here are some nationality mixes. We have about a lot of Swiss students, a lot of German, Brazilian, and we have students of all ages, again, from under 16, from 16 and up, and in their 40s and 50s as well. The average age at the school is 26. So it's not just students, who are 18, 19, 20 in university or recent graduates. It's also older students as well. We have lots of students who live in Barcelona or maybe work in Barcelona or go to university in Barcelona. So the nationality mix and the age mix is quite varied. Students from, for example, Russian-speaking countries is within other. So it's on the lower side, which is great because that means that you'll be speaking Spanish with your classmates, of course, at the school. We use the teaching method of the communicative method, which is, of course, where you'll be speaking Spanish from day one in order to learn Spanish. So no English is used in the course, no Portuguese, no Russian, no nothing else. So all students come at the same level. So in class, we only speak Spanish. And here on the right, you can see a level progression chart. Just to give you an idea that if someone starts from 0, if they don't speak any Spanish whatsoever, it takes about 44 weeks of intensive lessons to completely master Spanish and finish the C2 level. So it does take about a year if you stay on track and do your homework to finish. But then, for example, if students start at the B1 level, it takes them about 26 weeks, so half a year, in order to finish. So that's just a way that you can gauge how long you need to study to reach your academic goals, whether that's to become an intermediate speaker or an advanced speaker, or maybe just take 1 week of classes, which is also fine. So, and then the school also offers 4 free activities each week. And these are activities like tours, night outings like going to a restaurant or a bar, going to museums. We do workshops at the school about food, culture. And we also do activities on the weekends as well. Barcelona is, of course, full of things to do. It has a great nightlife, lots of great food. So it's a city that's easy to enjoy, outside of class time. We always do a welcome activity. So on Sunday, where students who are new at the school can meet other new students before they start class, which is nice because then if you arrive on Saturday or Sunday, you can then meet your classmates before you come on Monday for your first day. So I wanted to talk mainly about long-term programs, as I mentioned. First, about the COVID-19 situation, is that currently there's some sort of restrictions on traveling to Spain. So students in Spain that we have right now are those who are already living there, of course, those who have EU passports, and those who are participating in long-term academic programs. So if you're taking a program of 6 months or longer, it's considered a long-term academic program. And you can still get a student visa for this. Some embassies or consulates do not give out visas for this specific reason. For example, I know the Spanish embassies in Canada are not doing this. And I believe, for example, the embassy or the consulate in Moscow is also a bit limited. But for example, St. Petersburg is giving out visas. So it depends on the exact consulate. But you can come to our Barcelona school using this long-term visa even right now. And of course, we hope later in the year, even short-term tourism will be allowed. But for now, it's just long-term programs. And our school in Buenos-Ayres is actually still closed due to government restrictions. So we're just doing online classes. That's why I'm focusing on Spain. So these are the packages of these long-term programs to get an idea. They range from 6 months to 12 months. And combine courses of 20 lessons per week, so 4 hours of lessons per day, half the day in lessons, combined with vacation. So for example, the 12-month package is 40 weeks of vacation and 40 weeks of course and 8 weeks of vacation. So 2 months of vacation in order to have fun in Barcelona, travel in Spain, and travel in Europe. Of course, when that's allowed, because currently traveling in Europe is a bit limited because of travel restrictions, but hopefully later this year, that will be more lenient. And you can see the prices as well. This is the price per week of the courses. So it ranges again from 112 euros per week to 96 euros per week. So the long-term programs are also quite economical. And again, these includes the 4 activities I mentioned. We also do what we call professional workshops once a month for these students, which are things like putting together your CV for if you want to apply to a job, practicing interviews, learning a bit more in-depth things about working in Spain. And then, of course, you get a course certificate at the very end. And there's a couple of fees there as well that I'll speak about in a moment. So about these packages, so how does it work? So you notice there's the total fees here, which range from 2,464 euros to 3,840 euros. We actually don't require the full amount in order to receive your visa letter. So what you'll do is you'll apply to a program, we'll process all your documents, make sure everything is okay, and then we'll ask students to pay just a deposit of 450 euro. So it's a smaller deposit for us to then confirm the program and send your visa letter. Then students can start the visa process, apply for that long-term student visa, that academic program, wait for the response from their consulate or embassy, and then once they get the response, then they would pay the remaining amount 45 days before arrival. Sometimes the 45 days is a bit shorter because they're still waiting for their visa, but you can just talk to us. And then, of course, they arrive in Barcelona. So it's nice so you don't have to pay the full amount if you are worried about the visa process at all. And if the visa is denied for whatever reason, sometimes if you apply and there's information that's missing or for whatever reason it's not accepted, we refund almost the full deposit except for 110 euros. So that deposit is also partially refundable if the visa is denied. So a bit about student visas in Spain. You get them before you travel, of course, so from your home country or the country where you're currently living. You do have to have a personal interview with the embassy or consulate. That means you have to travel to the nearest one. You do have to have, these are general requirements, depending on the country or specific consulate, but you have to have a letter from the school, of course. That's the visa confirmation letter. Again, here it says a course of 90 plus days, but currently it's 6 months because of the long-term academic programs. You have to do at least 20 lessons per week. So that means you have to do an intensive course. You have to show health insurance. You have to have some funds in your bank account to show that you can cover the cost of living in Spain. That's about 700 euros per month for your stay. And you have to do a criminal background check for where you're applying. So if you're applying from Poland, you would get a criminal background check in Poland, even if you were maybe originally from another country. This visa is not a work permit. So it just allows you to study, but we'll talk about work permits in just a moment. And the time to apply, it takes up to 3 months to apply. So if you're going to travel, let's say in August, you should apply at the end of May or the beginning of June. So you get everything done before your departure. So you need about 3 months just in case. So I talked about work permits. What's nice is that can foreign students work in Spain? And the answer is yes. So it's a great attraction to Spain is that if you come to Spain to study Spanish or even go to university, you can work up to 20 hours per week. So you can work part-time during your course, and then you can actually work full-time during your vacation time. So as I mentioned earlier, if you have a year program, you have 8 weeks of vacation. If you don't want to travel or take that vacation, you can work full-time during that time. You do complete all the work permit after arrival. So we can tell you about all the steps to get it. It is a long process. So it is mostly for those who want to study for 1 year in Spain, because it takes about 4 to 6 months to process your work permit. So if you're doing a year program with us and then maybe going to university or just doing a year program, that's the best option rather than just 6 months. And I'll show you, I think, the next slide. Yes, so you can see this is just a timeline of a 6-month program and a 12-month program regarding work. So as I mentioned, it takes about 4 months to get your work permit if you do want to work while you're in Spain. So in the 6-month option, you can see they have Spanish courses for almost 5 months, and then they have a couple of weeks of vacation. So if you do it that way, you'd only be working for about 2 months, which can be more difficult, of course, to get a job for just 2 months. Whether it might be a seasonal job during the summer, but it still is a bit more difficult. But the 12-month package, which is the next one, you can see it's of course, you're still working at 4 months into the program, but you have a lot more time to work if you want to. And what's nice about vacation is that you can take those vacation weeks whenever you want. You can take them at the end of the program or in the middle of the program. So this example here, the person took 6 months of Spanish lessons, then they'd worked about 3 months full-time, or sorry, the 8 weeks full-time, and then they finished their program with the Spanish course to fulfill those 12 months of a program. So they were working for about 8 months of the 12. So that's why we recommend, if you're looking to do get a work permit, to always use the 12-month package, because it's much easier to find a job, of course, when you're in Barcelona for a longer period of time. Great. So that was a quick overview of both the school, the long-term packages, a bit about work permits. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer. And if not, I hope everyone enjoys their time during the event, and hopefully we'll make it to Europe and hopefully Spain in the future.
Thank you so much, Murphy. And I see the question regarding flying and visa. Are there any complications due to the current situation in the world?
For the visas?
Yeah, visas and flights.
So flights are still operating normally, both in Spain to arrive. The short-term visas, so for example, your Schengen visa, so if you wanted to get a Schengen visa for the Schengen region, I believe, for example, in Moscow, they're not giving out Schengen visas for short-term study. But you can apply for long-term. So if you do a student visa, you can still apply. So hopefully that was helpful.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your wonderful presentation.
No problem.
And by the way, are there many Russian-speaking students in your school?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, it's within the other. I would say in intensive courses, it's about 1% to 2%. But we do have more Russian-speaking students who are taking the non-intensive courses. So we have a couple of options where they take classes at night, and that's because the students mainly from Russian-speaking countries are studying or working in Barcelona. So there's a higher percentage, those who are living permanently in Barcelona, rather than those who are coming for just a few weeks.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
We'll be happy to send students to you in the future.
That'd be great. So I'm going to stop my share, yeah.